Welcome to Contender Series 2025, Season 9, I believe, Week 2, or Episode 2, of my predictions and picks. This is Mustard Ketchup Mayo 1000, and I will be showing you my picks, giving you some analysis, some breakdown, and overall just help you or anybody decide on who will win by what decision, or I guess like what method of victory. So yeah, I'll go ahead and show them now. So the first fight is Tommy Kuozi versus Ramiro Jimenez. I would say another thing before the pick start. This card, or at least this week's card, is or bouts are very. I wouldn't say lackluster, but I don't know. Like I look at these fights and these fighters, and there's people who will get in. I think there's gonna be at least more than two contracts given out this week compared to the last week's. But I don't see a lot of these fighters who will get contracts go far in the UFC, and I mean I hope I'm wrong. I do hope I'm wrong, but uh, I don't know. There's not as much talent in this week's fights compared to. I guess this is on par to last week's, where the talent wasn't that high. The talent I thought would be high, but it was not. And this is I feel like this week's also similar to that, and I hope I'm wrong. I do hope I'm wrong. I do hope I'm wrong. There's nobody here who like really calls out my name. He's like that where I look at them, they're like, yeah, he's gonna go far. Sadly, that's just how the cookie crumbles. But yeah, off to a little tangent. This is the first fight of the card. Tommy Cozy, might be Cozy, versus Ramiro Jimenez. Taking Jimenez KO round one. Also last week, another tangent. Last week I didn't do the greatest. I did okay, 3 out of 2. Mangoes was a disappointment, and Earwort was also a disappointment. Um, I don't know what happened last week. Last week was horrible for the fights. Hopefully this week's better. Not looking. I don't have much hope, but hope this week's better. Anyways, yes, I have Jimenez KO round one. Just going off of when I see a fighter come out of Combate Global versus Ultimate Battle, I don't know or have seen anybody from Ultimate Battle come into the UFC. Wait, I just realized Kamikozy? Maybe he has like a sibling, family member who runs the gym. I don't know. But Jimenez has competition. Combate Global is a good promotion. I think there's a lot of talent that comes out of it. And because of that, seeing that he finishes people in this in the competition that he's been in tells me a lot. I mean, so does Ultimate Battle, but I don't know the level of competition in Ultimate Battle. But I see Jimenez finishing him one way or another. Probably not submission. I mean, I think he has heavy hands. I mean, he's coming out of a kickboxing and a BJJ gym. Expecting heavy hands from him. Especially having a win over Tommy Garcia. I think he could compete in the Dana White Contender Series as well. But who knows? Jimenez by KO, round one, maybe round two. At featherweight too. This could be another Yair. Could be another Yair Rodriguez coming out of Baja California. So yeah, not much else to say. Vibe check between these two. I think this guy seems more of a killer compared to Kuozi. No idea. And the typology also agrees to a degree, 71%. Um, I point this out, but having the same, or excuse me, but I guess having the same opinion as the majority of the typology community doesn't necessarily mean anything. I just pointed out because there's other people or other people who are like-minded as myself thinking about that. But yeah, also they're both young. I think regardless if one of them doesn't make it, the other one will have another shot eventually. I just feel, I feel like Jimenez is. I would say I'm pretty high on Jimenez. Um, I would say high confidence on him. Yeah, I would go high, medium, low, pick 'em or toss up. Jimenez is high in my books. Um, Josh Huckett versus Guillermo Uriel. This one's very weird. Have Hockett or Hockett as the winner on this one. Um, the only thing was this. I don't know. I had a sub. I swear I had this as submission. Um, yeah, that should be submission. Um, I have Hockett submission round one. Don't know why it was KO round one. This is just gonna be another. Sadly, I didn't like the fact that they cut this guy, but this is another Martin Boudet situation where I think he's really good, and he actually gets finishes compared to Boudet. But I think he finishes a lot of the anybody or a good portion of the people in the heavyweight division. Um, Cause Uriel doesn't give me anything from his five most recent fights. Like he has a KO loss, which isn't the greatest. I will say there is a weight discrepancy. Cause why are you weighing in at 229, 230 at 6'1" and heavyweight? Kind of concerning. That just tells me you're just an undisciplined light heavyweight. Um, but there needs to be more competition, more talent in heavyweight. So I'm not against this. I'm just saying, hopefully he doesn't get bullied. Uh, we need more people in heavyweight. But yeah, either way, this is just gonna be a lay and pray. Not lay and pray, but it's gonna take him down round one. Maybe even hold him up in against the cage, get that submission off, or even just like knock him down, which is I mean he has the power to. He has KO punches, um, punches from yeah like you can tell like even his KO wins are while he's doing BJJ crucifix KO punches from backmount like he was probably on the verge of getting the submission. He just started just hammering away in his fist. Like, this is saying a lot. And I guess Uriel also has a submission win, but, I'm taking the guy that went to Bellator before Bellator. I'm taking the guy that went to Bellator before it got bankrupt and then went into LFA. Because this is basically just an LFA fight. They both come from LFA as well. This would have been made regardless of if Dana White Contender Series even booked them. So I'm taking Hockett. And plus, I've also picked them before on my own time in the LFA. I believe it was against... it might have been either Lunsford or it might have been Latu. Maybe I'm getting mistaken with somebody else, but I swear Hockett fought somebody who had fought in the Dana White Contender Series last season and demolished them, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah. Regardless, it was the football guy, the guy that played football and then switched to MMA last season. And then he fought. Who did he fight? He fought some random heavyweight. I forget who. I swear Hockett fought him. Regardless, I'm just going on tangents. Um, yeah, you're gonna take him down, submit him, KO him. Either one, it doesn't matter. He's gonna do it. Coming from Jackson Wink MMA Academy, better coaches. Also, very high, very high. I would take high and high. Jimenez high, Hackett high. So yeah, next fight is Lewis Lee Scott versus Kaushik Sai-Kumar. I'm taking Lewis Lee Scott. This one, I think the odds are kind of unfair. I think it should be a lot more closer. Maybe even like not pick'ems, but at least like 2-1. I haven't looked at any sports books, but just going off of what Topology is showing me, I think this is a 4-1, almost 5-1 favorite. It's kind of bonkers. But it's understandable. I think regardless, Lewis Lee is gonna win. I wouldn't say round one. I'll put round two. Cause this could go the distance. I'm not putting that past him. And you see, I would have taken Sai Kumar, but the only thing with Sai Kumar is just like it's not showing much. With 5 fights at bantamweight, like 5 fights at heavyweight, that's completely different. Heavyweight is so shallow. 5 wins, it tells me a lot at the start of your career, but 5 wins at bantamweight doesn't tell me much yet, in my opinion, especially at bantamweight. And he is young, at least he has time. Definitely has time, to grow and learn and get better. But when you're coming from Eris and the PFL, getting a KO win in the PFL is pretty good. But coming from Eris, like the guy from last week, the guy that got head butted, he came from Eris as well. That tells me that and if you're actually getting wins in that competition, it shows me that you're able to also translate over to the UFC. But yeah, I mean, I wouldn't put it past Sai Kumar catching him some way, shape, or form, but I don't believe he would get a nod, even by decision. I think it's gonna be just a striking match. Maybe Lewis Lee Scott somehow takes him down, finishes him by submission. But I don't know how good Sai Kumar's takedown defense or submission defense is. I'm just gonna say KO. I would say I'm moving in at round 3. Round 3 KO, maybe decision, in my opinion. Um, yeah, I'll take that. And he's coming from Manchester top team, so I'll take that over 50-50 Martial Arts Academy. No disrespect, I just don't know anybody who came out of there. And I guess this is just another thing where I'm also on the same boat as some of those people on the topology. Not necessarily here, but yeah. Next fight. Wait, let me go back to Lewis Lee. I would say medium confidence. Not too high, not too low. Yeah. Next fight is Brandon Holmes versus Cam Roston. This one is another one where it could be toss up, which it kind of is in the odds. Slight favorite, slight underdog. I think Cam wins this by decision. And my only reason why is just because I look at this, I guess like their stats. Even in the height, 30 years old, so he's probably entering his prime at middleweight. From Australia, but he's coming from Eternal, and he has the Torres Finney loss by decision, which tells me you're not bad, because I made the wrong mistake last week by saying Yuri Pafnarov was bad because he's a Torres Finney victim. I'm mistaken. I am mistaken. If you are a Torres Finney victim, you are not bad. You got out-muscled, I would say. So, this tells me that you are gonna take Brandon Holmes down, because I mean he looks like he's just a striker. He doesn't. Excuse me. I don't think he has much wrestling in his arsenal. But you're gonna take him down, and you're gonna do a lot of things. Hopefully, hopefully, try to at least get a finish, because last week we had a couple people who did not want to finish their opponent, but I think submission would be his most reasonable win. But then also just by submission, or just finish the takedown and just get him down on the ground and just pummel him. Either or. This is not a bad loss. And Fury KO, CFFC KO. I'm assuming this is Cage Fury. I'm not too sure, but yeah, I recognize the logo. Yeah, these are good wins. These are not bad wins. I mean, yeah, these are not bad wins. I was right. But I don't know. It's not telling me much for 5 fights at middleweight. I'm taking looked over the most important part. He's from City Kickboxing. Look at all the people he has at City. Navajo Sterling, Izzy, Kai, Car, France. Who else am I missing? Blood Diamond. I don't even know if he's even training anymore. And he's not the greatest, but he still was UFC caliber. I'm sure I'm missing somebody. Is Carlos there with them? I'm not too sure if Carlos Oberg is with them. I'm sure there's Kevin Doucette, I believe. Yeah, Kevin Doucette was also there. There's other Australians. Or New Zealanders. One of the two. Yeah, I don't know what else to add. This is a roasted decision. As long as he doesn't get caught, which it looks like he could get caught. I'm sure he has good enough, like, kickboxing as well. Like, he is at a gym that's primarily kickboxing. So to see that he also has submission wins is telling. That's good. A calf slicer is interesting, but at least he knows, and he still has that in his arsenal. I'm expecting a submission or a decision, round 3 submission, or decision where he just lays and prays and puts off a good amount of punches. I hope he doesn't get a decision. I wouldn't put it past him. And if it does go to decision, I hope it's at least like a good fight. Because he's not getting a contract if that's not the case. But I'm not gonna put it past him. Decision, yeah. I would say, confidence wise, you see, he's the dog, so there's always gonna be at least one dog each card. I made the mistake of not realizing that, or not that I not realized that, but I made the mistake of not picking at least one dog last card, because I just couldn't see a single one of those fighters being a dog. And this is my dog for the week, Cam Roston, for the Dana White Contender Series. Because I'm not gonna fade somebody from City Kickboxing. Like he's there, and he knows what he's doing. They wouldn't put him in a fight in the Dana White Contender Series if he was garbage. And to see that a lot of people are high on Holmes is interesting, because I don't see what people are seeing at all. So yeah, Cam Roston. Plus, another thing, a second chance. Anybody who has a second chance coming back in, I'm not gonna miscount or count out, unless they're fighting someone who I know stylistically will beat them. This is not the case. I would say I'm medium as well on Cam. Manuel Exposito. Yes. Exposito. Versus Jose Delano. Who's Josie Delano. Delano decision. Z. Jose Z. Josie Z. I'm taking Delano decision. I have him by decision, but I don't. I'm. I don't see why so many people are high on Delano, but there is a reason for it. I don't see it in my opinion, but I will say Delano decision. But I'm not putting it past him if he gets like submitted or KO'd by Exposito. Um, yeah. The Argentinians right now in the MMA or that are coming into the MMA. This is like I think Argentinians are gonna be hmm, the next Georgians in the sense that Georgians had this high reputation where they're amazing in MMA, but only in the case that they're amazing for their like grit. Argentinians, I'm going to give the same idea, but I will say they're going to be known more for their striking. Um, yeah, their strike. Um, but that doesn't show with sadly with Esposito, at least in his last five bouts. But I'm still gonna take Delano. Um, decision. It could definitely be a finish. I think this is gonna be a lot closer than people make it out to be, and I wouldn't even put it past him if Exposito wins as well. I'm gonna take Delano, just because he's such a heavy favorite as well. Not to say that like the betting odds tell you everything, but that's all I see in my opinion. I'm gonna say low. I'm gonna say low on Jose Delano, uh, Gilano. Um, yeah, I'm gonna say low confidence on that one. So going over my picks again. Jimenez KO round one. This was high confidence. Even going as far to say this is my lock. Hockett high. I would say another lock. For no, this is like beyond the lock. This is free. This is free. Submission is free, in my opinion. Submission round one or two is free. Um, Lewis Lee Scott, I would say I'm gonna switch it to low. I'm gonna switch it to low. Low KO round three, probably decision in my opinion. Um, Ralston decision, but I will say I am high on Ralston. Um, yeah, high on Ralston. Jose Dolanu, I would say is low. But decision. He could definitely finish him. Like I'm not putting that past him. Like he's gone to Tommy Garcia. He's gone KO'd by Tommy Garcia. Tommy Garcia. But the thing is, Tommy Garcia is good. Tommy Garcia is very good. Um, as I mentioned earlier with Jimenez. But Jose Delano decision. I think it's gonna be a good striking match. Then they're hopefully one of them gets signed because they both seem promising. But yes. And yeah, Ralston. Yeah, just gonna probably lay and pray, maybe finish him. Low, high, low, yeah, low, lock and lock. Yes. That is all what I have for today for Dana White Contender Series 2025 though. Thank you for watching. And I'm glad that you watched this video. Hope to see you next week for next week's Dana White Contender Series. And that week's bouts actually look a lot more interesting competition wise. So hope to see anybody there to watch. And yeah, leave any feedback in the comments. Leave me any comments as well. Thank you and goodbye.